Bonjour, peeps. Good morning. Good morning. Good Friday morning, August 10th. And we're starting the live stream right here at Star Nation Organization's main fan page. And it is the live stream for the card draw energy for the day. Uh, and it was like, I should have roller skates on. Yeah. We just finished an impromptu live stream. Up at the academy, and to see the construction. I thought maybe you guys would be interested in seeing that. And then I ended that one so I could come back down to the main house, to the house, so that we could do this live stream, right? Well, I get to the driveway, and I had my car because I knew that there was no way I was going to make it between point A and point B in time for this live stream. So I get to my house and I hit the button like I usually do to open the garage door. And I realized, wait a minute, there's two bikes in my driveway. Why are there two bikes in my driveway? Our neighbor kids came over to give us cucumbers. And so they were knocking on the door when I drove up. So we have fresh cucumbers from our neighbors, and the kids are so cute. They're so cute. So, hey, Motto, good morning to you too. And Margaret just joined us, and Elise is here too. Good morning, ladies. Good morning to Mary Ann. We have coffee. Coffee. Yeah. A much needed cup of coffee this morning. Yeah, it's one of those days. I don't know if you've ever experienced one of these, but literally when the first step out of bed, it's like go 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 go, and so I enjoyed the moment that it took to be with my spiritual team to ask for the cards for today. It was the most quiet moment since 6:30 this morning. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mato. She says, cool video on the construction you have going on. Thanks for sharing. Well, you're welcome. I'm hoping that at some point, as many of you in our Star Nations community will be here either to take a class or to come for an occasion, an event of some sort. That would be nice. Yeah. Good morning, Margaret. Good morning. And Esperanza just joined us. And my sister, Christine Pollock. Christine, good morning. I'm going to take a drink of coffee. My first for the morning. Yum. Yum. I've never been one of those people that really, really needed caffeine to start the day. It's nice. I enjoy it. But it's not like, the stereotype of a caffeine addict where they're sitting at the table and they're shaking, they're waiting for the coffee to brew. No, nothing like that at all. But I do enjoy it. I do. And I use real cream too. A lot of people don't. Good morning, Esperanza. I am trying to remember to do this for this particular live stream, is that to like it and to share it. And so if you give me just a moment, I am going to share it to my timeline, and then also to the closed group for the radio network. And live streaming. And I always remember to say, please. Please join me. There we go. That's to my timeline. And then I'm going to do to Star Nations Radio Network, the closed group. That is the place where most of our community hangs out to interact, sharing stuff, and that's where you can see a lot of the information about classes and things that other people are teaching, other show hosts that are teaching different classes from their own personal businesses. And so, that's where you can find a lot of the people there, a lot of the peeps. All right, so I'm going to share it with them and to the network. Let's see. I'm going to say, hey, peeps. Oops. Got to learn how to spell. It's those small keys. And then join me. Here we go. There, that's done. And I'd appreciate it if you would like, and if you want to share, that would be nice. The reason why we even ask everybody to do that is we show up in the news feed more often. If we didn't do those kinds of things, probably wouldn't show up in the live in the news feed. And Facebook, it's an elusive creature. Every time we say, I feel like we got it, they change something and we have to kind of start over again. Hey, Amy Paco, welcome. Cindy Lynn saying, good morning, everybody. She's asking, may I please ask for some healing prayers? I'm not feeling well and severe back pain since early this morning. You sure can, Cindy Lynn. Certainly we can send some prayers to you. Healing prayers. Seeing, feeling the pain, easing, releasing. Yeah, the back pain. A lot of healers have that situation with their backs. It's when we're carrying too much of a load, maybe. I don't know what's going on in your life, Cindy Lynn, but obviously Spirit wants you to slow down and take it easy a bit. Sometimes it's really hard for us to do, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know. There's lots of spiritual reasons why we have our physical situations. There's a theory, there's a belief out there that by the time it reaches our physical body, it's actually been with us for quite a long time, because it has to work its way through our auric field. So in other words, it has to start out there in the spiritual body, and then the emotional body, and then the mental body, and then we finally get to see it, feel it, sense it in our physical body. And so it's been with us for quite some time by the time it reaches our physical body. I don't know if you believe that or not, but when I sit back and that hindsight 2020 stuff, I can see those times in my life where I'm literally flat on my back because I was so ill. Or when I had issues with my knee, I have a broken, torn ACL, and so in my right knee, and I remember healing from that and thinking, I did not make a good patient during that one at all. I didn't like getting messed up with the forward movement and literally slowing me down, and having to use crutches and then doing PT and all that. Yeah. So certainly, Cindy Lynn, sending you healing energies and lots of love. Seeing you healthy and happy. Yeah. Healthy and happy. So today's card draw is, I think we're kind of on a theme this week. Hi, Jacqueline, and she's sending prayers too. That's sweet. And so for those people who may not have liked Star Nation's main fan page or joined any of the groups that are associated with the fan page, with Star Nation's organization LLC, this is something that we do for each other in our community. When someone is hurting or needs prayers, or also the opposite occurs, we also share the good stuff, the things that happen to us that are exciting and joyful, right? Grandchildren being born, finishing up a degree, getting the results for your DNA that you've sent out for whatever reason. It could be for closed adoptions and trying to find your biological people, and so we support each other. And so if you'd like to join the community, we would certainly welcome you. All you have to do is click like, right? and then you're in. All right. So for those who may have never experienced this particular this morning live stream, I don't have a name for it yet. Elise calls it Neshi's non-show. It's kind of got a ring to it. But I do a card draw every morning, and I have for a really long time. And I started sharing that information like a quote in Star Nation's Instagram account. And that was last fall. And this spring, in May, I had this brilliant idea, is that maybe people, peeps in the community would like to share about the information about the card draw and the energy for the day. And so I connect with my spiritual team, and I ask, the intention is that I be shown the energy that's most important for us to know today for the highest good, and that we can share with others. And so that's what we do. And so this we switched to this deck, and this deck is called the Sacred Geometry Oracle Deck by Francine Hart. It was published in 2001. It's my one and only, my very first one, Oracle deck about sacred geometry. And I bought this in 2002. It was right after it was published. I'm sure there's probably other decks out there by now. But in those early days, this was it. This was it. Cindy says, we're in the cool club now. Well, I think that we are a unique group of souls. And are we cool? Probably, but more times than not, that we found a place that we can be ourselves, and we can learn a whole bunch along the way, different perspectives about spirit and spiritual growth. But more importantly, we have a place to share our lives and be surrounded by a lot of love, right? And one of the reasons why Star Nations was even created in the first place was to share information, to share that ancient information that's coming into modern day, maybe with a little bit different perspective, and so that we can be your bridge between those two things, right? And what grew out of that was a community, and a lot of support, right? And a lot of support. So if that makes us cool, then okay. I'll go along with that. Julie's here. Julie Hedges. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Julie is one of our live stream show hosts here at Star Nations. She is also a contributing writer for the magazine, and she is also a teacher. And so she is also one of the faculty members here at Star Nations Academy. And so, and we're good friends. And it's always good to see Julie in the house, because she always got some good stuff to add, right? Maggie, hello, welcome everybody. And Elisa's saying, I think we all love the daily hour. Well, I tell you what, it's easy for me to get distracted and get diverted. That's for sure. Makes it interesting, right? All right, so this morning's card draw. Now with this particular deck, and I explain this almost every day, but I want to make sure that everybody understands, especially those people who might just be joining this, like Ada. Good morning, Ada. That in this particular deck, the way Francine has set it up is that she is bringing us information in a balanced way so that we receive it holistically, both with an H, holistic, and with the W, whole, okay? And so with the morning card draw, I draw two cards. I draw two. One in the card layout, the first one is the first card drawn, goes on the right-hand side, which represents the masculine energies. And that is about rational thought. It's about thought. It's about logic. It's how we bring in information through that part of our body, the mental body, okay? And it also represents Grandfather Sky. the male aspect, right? And the second card that's drawn is represents the female energies. And that is about our emotions, our feelings, our intuition, and Grandmother Earth. And so when we have those two aspects brought together, that's balance. And when we take that information into our bodies, both the verbal, the nonverbal, the energetic, the essence of it, the spirit of it, we understand it in a more complete way, right? And that is her Francine, the author's intention, and I kind of like that. Yeah, Lisa's saying hello to everybody. Lisa's, I know I'm cool. See, she doesn't need the group to know that she's cool, right? And that's cool. Yeah, and Julie's saying, yep, we're good friends. We certainly are. We have fun. And Maggie's saying, ankle on the mend. Oh, good. That's great. That's good. All right, so the first card, and I talk about this a lot, actually, and that is the Vesica Piscis. The Vesica Piscis. The Vesica Piscis is that space between the overlap of the two circles. Here, let me put the book down. All right. So the Vesica Piscis is right here, right there in the center where my finger is. It kind of looks like a fish in a way. It kind of looks like the shape of an eye, right? The Vesica Piscis. And what Francine calls this is a birth portal. A birth portal. And it is one of the images, shapes of sacred geometry that is literally the beginning. The beginning. When I first started studying sacred geometry, I kind of had to go, oh my God, not geometry, because I wasn't all that good with math when I was in school. I had to work at it. I still got good grades, but I had to work at it. Now, if geometry was taught this way when I was in school, I think I probably would have liked it better. But with the Vesica Piscis, it's about the creation story from a sacred geometry point of view, right? And I know that I've shared this before, but I'd like to share it one more time. Is in the creation story, for sacred geometry's point of view, is the great mystery, also known as the prime creator. Okay, so in a Christian way, it would be, you know, the line of authority. You have Jesus, and then you have God, and the prime creator or the great mystery is above God. Okay, it's where the unknown is, knowing the unknown, and it's that prime creator that has no gender, has no negativism. Okay, that's the part of spirit that only recognizes the positive aspects, because it's in its wholeness. There is no duality. There is no duality. So when the prime creator or the great mystery, in Potawatomi, it's Kechimanadu, great spirit, wanted to experience. And so what the great spirit did was it drew a line, just a straight line between what we might call point A and point B, right? And to experience movement, that spirit spun that line and spun it. Different speeds. And at one moment, the speed was so fast that you could sense an outer line, that circle. And so the first movement was that straight line in the creation, but to experience movement, the first shape was a circle, right? And that's part of the creation story through sacred geometry. So in order to experience relationship, another circle had to be created. And so the prime creator, the great mystery, created another circle, drawing the line, spinning it, getting that second circle done, and then moving the two circles together. And so on the top portion here is that if you can imagine two separate circles moving toward each other, and then once they overlapped here, they formed the Vesica Piscis to experience relationship. And in that joining, in the overlap, is where there was a burst of light. And that where we get the phrase, and then there was light. And that was the first movement that created life. Okay. And so in that creation story for sacred geometry, it isn't just about procreation where you are creating a child, a breathing child. It's everything. It's everything that we experience. It could be a project. It could be a relationship. It could be a business relationship. It could be a romantic relationship. It could be a good friendship. It's anything that we create. When we to create that or to experience that relationship, we're bringing two things together, and in the overlap, in the Vesica Piscis is where it is the most powerful moment. The most powerful moment. And we actually see it in cell division. When the creation is a human child, a two-legged child, or one of our furry friends, our furry relatives, is whenever life is created, there's cell division. And that is what you can also see here, is when two cells come together and they start to divide and multiply, right? Yep. Interesting stuff. That's one of the reasons why I love sacred geometry. It's so interesting. Hello, Connie. Connie's here too. Connie is also one of our show hosts, live stream show hosts. The name of her show is Spiritual Mysteries of Life and Elder. She's a Star Nations elder. And it's always good to have Connie in the house. And I forgot to mention that Julie's show is called The Tarot Journey. Connie's show is on the last Thursday of the month in the morning at 10:30 Eastern, I think it is. And Julie's show is on the third Monday in the evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. So her show is coming up. All right. So even in the biological sense, it's called cell division. And that's what we share with sacred geometry, right? Yeah, that's cell division. Let's see what Francine Hart has to say about the Vesica Piscis. Remember, she calls it a birth portal. A birth portal. She says the number 2 becomes creation through the Vesica Piscis. 2 circles or 2 spheres representing 2 holes with a W-H-O-L-E-S. And it becomes a birth portal. All right. Now, here's a little something too. At the top image, in its shape, is also the shape of the vagina. Okay? In many ancient cultures, indigenous cultures, they had that shape in their belief of the goddess. And so the ancient Irish, not Celtic, the ancient Irish, Amantha is the one that taught me about that one. It's called a Sheila na gig, and that it is a representation of the divine feminine. Okay, now think about this. Literally, this is the card that came out first, and so it is sitting in the male energy of the card draw. So to take this information in, it's being presented to us through mental thought, logic, right? To take this information in. So you might be intrigued by the science of it, but the more esoteric or the more spiritual information is also being given to us through a male sense of understanding. So taking in the information, the thoughts, and how that you take in. Okay. All right. So it puts a whole another look at what she calls the birth portal. In the old Irish, it's called the Sheila na gig. She didn't write that. I'm adding that. All right. So she also says that examine the interactions that you might have with a loved one or a colleague. She's saying that this place of birth where people and ideas join in mutual understanding and common ground. And so the Vesica Piscis can also be referred to as the common ground. It can also be referred to as the middle path. Yeah. There's many aspects to the Vesica Piscis. But in this particular one, she's saying that because of the choosing of the card of the Vesica Piscis confirms the wholeness of your relationships and honors the potential that comes into being as a result of respect and cooperation. Respect and cooperation. Those are the positive aspects of a relationship, right? Of course, there's also joy and humor. There's a lot of good things, a lot of positive things in a relationship. But generally speaking, we focus our attention on the parts that are not positive. We focus on the parts that are more of a challenge. Elise, okay. If you're going to have to find a picture then of what a vagina looks like from the outside, not the inside, from the outside. It has that shape of the Vesica Piscis. Yeah. Okay, so here's another one. Kind of ponder about. And I don't know. I didn't see Rob in the chat, but maybe somebody knows the answer to this one, or at least can weigh in. Is the early symbol of the Christians was a fish, right? Where did that symbol come from? How did it start? Because in sacred geometry, one of the things they point at is that the Vesica Piscis has a fish shape to it. And that the symbol was actually of the two spheres coming together, creating. It's a creation and it's a relationship. Yeah, I know. It's like, it's one of those things. It's like, hey, wait a minute. What does that really mean? Where do we really get that from? It's another way to look at it is all. Hi, Deborah. Oh, you have a great weekend too. We're preparing for this class that's coming up, Introduction to Shamanic Journey. And we're also publishing today too. We got a great day going on here. Yeah. So after I publish, and it takes 2 seconds to hit the publish button, and then it takes an hour and a half to do all kinds of promoting for it. And once that's done, then I turn my attention to the final preparations for the class. And so, yeah, we're going to have a great weekend. And I wish you a great weekend too, Deborah. All right. So the Vesica Piscis. And really what Francine is really saying to us here is to ask ourselves, what kind of relationships do we have? Are we co-creating as a synergistic coming together, right? How are we doing that? Do we see eye to eye with those important relationships in our lives? Do we spend more time paying attention to the positive qualities or not? If there are more negative qualities to that relationship, then we have to take stock of that too, because it's there for a reason, for a life lesson. And sometimes it is in the letting go that we learn the most, right? And so this is what the Vesica Piscis card is saying, is to take a look at our relationships and how we create them. How do we nurture them, maintain them? Yeah. All right. So Julie is saying, think of the statue of Mary people keep in their yard in the grotto. It's this shape. That's true. I just had to stop there for a second and get an image. That's true. And she's saying that Mary in the bathtub is the Vesica Piscis. That's so very true. And Lisa's saying, have you gotten to that episode of Grace and Frankie yet? You will. Then have to create the photo. Actually, I did. I finished the whole series. I'll let you in on a secret. I worked at the same time. I worked in the living room so I could watch Frankie and Grace. And then there were in the evenings, after I was finally done, and usually after 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'd watch at least one episode where I wasn't doing anything else. And I saw that one. And I might say, okay, I have to admit, I have an addiction. I can't wait for the next season of Grace and Frankie. It's like, how does that happen? Yes, I'm addicted to them. Hilariously funny. All right, so for today, this is part of the energy that's flowing, is for us to take in the information. If you've never heard of the Vesica Piscis ever before, that's one layer. The second layer is that if you have heard of the Vesica Piscis before, this may come to you from another perspective or another way of sharing the information. And so you can take in that and see how the energy unfolds for you. Because basically, Francine is saying, look at our relationships. How did we create that relationship? Do we remember what it was like to feel, sense, see when that relationship came together in that burst of light, that burst of energy, because something new was created? And I would even extend that out to your recent projects or the things that you want to create. It brings in a whole nother level of understanding from a spiritual sense. Okay, so the second card that came, which goes on the female side of the layout, about intuition, emotions, and feelings, is this one. And I kind of like this. It is called Dance Through Eternity. It's about relationship. Now, I know that this card is kind of a cute card. I like it and its design. Of course, I like the stars. And, the two people and the spiral that connects them runs through them. There's even got stars at their feet. It's like they're up in the stars, in the star nations, right? I like it. I like the design. It's about relationship. And this is what Francine says about this card. She says, we are surrounded by spiral patterns every time we step into relationship and begin one of the most important dances of life. Spirals are about growth, dynamic balance, and universal integrity. This is the promise and potential of every new relationship, regardless of if it's between genders, okay? It is in every new relationship. Guided by love and respect, begin the dance of relationship with the realization that this could be the true love of your life, the most important friendship you have ever experienced, or the perfect partnership you need for your life's work. Okay? So it's about relationship. She says, travel the spiral to the center of its joyful potential. Know that in loving, you will be loved. I like that last one. Know that in loving, you will be loved. And it's in more than just a romantic sense. It is that, but it's so much more. Okay. Thank you for stopping by, Connie. Have a good weekend. Connie's got to take off. And, okay. Elisa's saying, me too, not till 2019. Yeah. Okay. I know it. Isn't it pretty? Cindy Lynn likes the card too. Elise, don't worry. Elise says, sorry for all my comments. That is me. That's okay. That's all right. See, in this particular way of conversing and having this spiritual roundtable is that nobody's talking over each other. I see your comments. I'll mention your comments. But, if we were in person, which would be kind of cool if we were, right? And we were having this discussion as the facilitator, I would just make sure that everybody had a voice, no matter how many times they wanted to say something. Those people who, are a little bit shyer or they speak a little bit slower, we just make sure that they get their chance too. So everybody has a chance to say. Cindy Lynn, I love stars, my favorite shape. Me too. That's right, Cindy Lynn. She's talking to Elise. Don't be sorry. No need. It's who you are. Absolutely correct. Hey, Judy. Judy saying good morning, everybody. Welcome, Judy. I'm so glad you're here with us. Yes, and Elise is saying find the humor and everything because it's there. And Julie is saying, please repeat the card read on 2. Okay, I will. And out loud. And out loud. Okay, so here's the card this is the second card drawn. And so it goes in the position of the female energies. So it's about emotion and intuition, our feelings, representing Grandmother Earth energy, right? And so it's about relationships. It's called the Dancing Through Eternity. And love the stars. Noticing the swirl that brings the two people together. And so it's about relationship. And Francine Harch, how she describes this is that she says that we are surrounded by spiral patterns every time we step into relationship and begin one of the most important dances of our life. And she also says spirals are about growth, dynamic balance, and universal integrity. And what I added to that was is a, this includes a romantic relationship, but it isn't the only relationship that this card is referring to. It's referring to all of our relationships with everything. It includes the relationship to ourselves, to a friendship, to a business partnership, any kind of partnership or relationship that you would begin. She says, this is the promise and potential of every new relationship. Guided by love and respect, begin the dance of relationship with the realization that this could be the one true love of your life, the most important friendship you'll ever experience, or the perfect partnership you need for your life's work. She says, travel the spiral to the center of its joyful potential. To the center of its joyful potential. And she also says, know that in loving, you will be loved. And she doesn't qualify that with a romantic love. She's just saying that know that in loving, that you're doing the loving, that you will be loved. Yeah. She says, act to revive the relationship and rekindle the spark of the sacred dance of life. Sometimes, because we've been in relationship for a long time with someone or something, that we take it for granted. We sometimes ignore it. It's no longer in the first position, number one, and maybe has dropped to 2, 3, or 4, depending on what's going on. And the other thing that we have to remember and turn our attention to is that if it's an important relationship of any kind, in order for it to thrive, to grow, you have to nurture it. You have to love it. You have to tend to it. You have to pay attention to it. Yeah. Cindy Lynn saying, I try to also. I have a dark, twisted sense of at times to handle the heavy stuff. Helps me process it. Yeah. It's a coping mechanism. That's what psychologists would say. Maggie saying, I wish you could come and speak at my shop. Where's your shop, Maggie? It depends. I'm kind of on a travel restriction. Yeah, that's why everybody's coming to me these days. Because I used to travel to different places to teach. My travel restriction is called a 99-year-old mom. Yeah, with very little resources. And so, so it depends on where you're at and how I could possibly finagle that. Elisa's saying, me too, Cindy Lynn. At times I'm a bit twisted too. I think we all are. We all are. And, and some people use humor, like Cindy Lynn says, to process stuff. Sometimes it's about that nervousness, a nervous laugh, or making jokes during a kind of a tense time, Yeah. Oh my God, that just reminded me of something. He's not going to appreciate this if he watches it, Paul. All right, everybody, you remember Paul had pneumonia. He's doing quite well, by the way. He's back to work. I'm reminding him to take it easy, that to notice how his body is reacting to things. When he's overdoing it, is to stop and just to rest for a little bit, even if you just sit down for a short while. Okay, so the last time he was in the emergency room, it was 5 a.m. We had been dealing with his pain since about 4 or 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I was already not sleeping much last week. And so we're sitting in the emergency room in one of those little cubicle rooms. And from the time we got to the emergency room to actually talk to somebody, Paul was using his sense of humor because he is a funny guy. He has me laughing all the time. Okay. cracking jokes and, that kind of stuff. Wordplay. To the point where, I'm sitting there, I'm quiet, I'm watching the interaction, and the medical staff aren't taking him seriously. Why? Because he was goofing around, right? So what does this guy need us for, basically, in an ER? All right, so nursing staff left us waiting for the doctor. I'm tired. I looked at him, I said, okay, that's enough. I was not goofing around anymore. I said, they're not taking you seriously. They're not going to listen to you. But I realized after the fact, like 2 days after the fact, is that it was his nervousness about it, not knowing what it was. And was this pneumonia thing taking a really serious turn? Was he going to be admitted into the hospital? That kind of stuff. And so his sense of humor, his need to relieve the tension within himself, he turned to his humor. Yeah. So, technically it's not a bad thing. It's not, until somebody's not taking you serious enough when there's a serious situation, right? All right. Maggie is saying Amethyst Dragon, 131 South Avenue, Pueblo, Colorado. I would love to come to Colorado, but I think it's going to have to wait until I can actually travel. Yeah. We'll have to put a bookmark in that, Maggie. One of these days I'll make it over there. I just can't tell you when. It depends a lot on Mom. It really does. So, all right. So we have these two cards. And the first one that was drawn goes on the masculine side of things. To take it in through thought, right? Logic, was the Vesica Piscis. And the second one that was drawn that goes in the female side is Dancing Through Eternity. And it's about relationship. Both cards are about relationship, in the creation of a relationship. And I truly believe that in the flow of the energy for today is about for us to consider our relationships. Remembering how they were created, how they're nurtured, which ones need our attention for whatever reason. Are we tending to that so that it'll grow and thrive? Or is it a relationship that we need to learn this other lesson about because it's more of in a negative manner? Is it a relationship that we need to make decisions about? Are we staying in it, or are we leaving? Are we letting it go? And those are tough decisions. It's tough decisions. Either way, it's an energy expenditure, because if we're nurturing a relationship, we need to turn our attention to it, and it takes some of our energy, right? To nurture and to have a relationship thrive. If it's a relationship that you're letting go, it still takes energy, because you still have to make decisions, tough decisions. Or if the decision is easy, sometimes it's the leaving that's tough, And so in any situation, it's going to be an energy expenditure. Judy is saying, I'm the same way, Paul. I just came back from the doctors, and I'm telling him my pain is nothing I'm laughing at, off jokes, and coming to find out that I have a sinus infection and ear infection, but it does help humor. Humor helps when you're hurting. Yeah, it does. Especially if that's one of your gifts and one of your strengths, right? Yeah, I totally get that. I think that in the mastery of that, in the not just managing it, in the mastery of it, those are the times when we get to take it up another level. And sometimes it's knowing knowing when to say when. Yeah, because Paul has a tendency to tease to no end. And then he realizes when the other person is finally gotten saturated, and he sees their look or their comment, and he says, "Oh, I went too far." And so knowing when you've reached an end. And Maggie says most people do. You are so wise. Well, thank you. The wise comes from experience, really, and from my spiritual team, because they're the ones that are helping me express this. Deborah is saying, I'm thinking about the relationship with self, trust, and growth within myself. That's a good one. That really is, Deborah. Because many people don't. They don't take the time to turn their attention to it. And when we turn our focus to that, we get to know ourselves so much better. And especially the shadow selves is facing those, counting coup on that shadow self, learning from that. Maggie's saying it's the laughing part that helps. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Yep. And my mom and I, we have this, it's an unspoken agreement, really, is that we really look forward to having that one really good laugh a day, the kind that kind of make your eyes water, or you're laughing so hard that your stomach muscles hurt or your back muscle hurts, those kind of laughters. And we look forward to that once a day. And many times it's about ourselves. For instance, last night, was it last night? Or maybe it was lunchtime. It was at lunchtime. We were basically done eating. Mom was just finishing up, and I was reaching over to grab some of the serving spoons out of the containers to put them on my plate. And in that reach, I hit my water glass with the tip of my ring finger. And the glass was about 3/4 full. Yeah, water everywhere. And I asked Paul to toss me the towels from the kitchen, and dish towels, and I'm trying to create a dam so it doesn't run toward Mom and onto her lap. And yeah, and so at first I'm sorry, I'm apologizing to my mom for the ruckus, and she goes, oh, the table must have needed cleaning, and then she also said, when you do something, anything, you do it until it gets done well. And that just made me laugh. I stood there and laughed and laughed and laughed. And I said, that's true. You taught me anything worth doing is worth doing well. So we laughed about that. Yep. And Cindy Linnison, I make fun of myself a lot. I'm very clumsy in these days due to my fibromyalgia and MS. Yeah. Those were the days. I learned about myself because I used to be clumsy about things. Yes. And I realized it's because I was not present. In the moment, I was not present. My mind was racing ahead to what still needed to be done, or thinking about something completely different. I'd walk into doors. It's sometimes closed doors, but more often than not, it was doors that were kind of open partially, and I wasn't paying attention and run right into them. Yeah. Used to do that a lot, run into things. Yeah, but I realized that, and that was early on. That was like early 20s or so. It's like, why do I keep doing things like that? They hurt. And I realized like I wasn't present. my body might have been there, but everything about me was not there at all. And so I wasn't paying attention to the environment around me. Yeah. All right. So here, the information that we heard today, that we shared about today, about the Vesica Piscis and dancing through eternity, please take what resonates with you, any part of it, and hold on to it. Embrace it. See and watch how the energy of the day, how your day unfolds, and where you recognize, sense this energy about the Vesica Piscis and the relationships. And in that sensing, notice if you are a direct participant or someone bearing witness. It's like I always say, is that either in either way, whether you're directly active in it or a passive watcher, you're learning something because you're there, right? You're there to experience it. And then if you didn't have the information resonate with you, that's okay. That's okay. Just let it go. It wasn't meant for you. Maybe not at this time. Maybe it was just seeds being planted, and one day you'll turn around and you'll say, I remember hearing something like that once. Where was that? And then you'll go and you'll start your research. So we're just planting seeds. Or possibly you're a messenger. Maybe you're the messenger. You know somebody that might be interested in the information, and you share the video with them, the recorded video. Yep. And I meant to do this yesterday, is to add the YouTube channel link in the comments, so that if you wish, you could share the video outside of Facebook, if you wish. Okay. So I'll try to remember to do that. All right. So just, notice how your day unfolds, how your weekend goes. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to fit in a live stream in the morning or in the afternoon, because we're going to be teaching this class. So I'll let you know. How that's going to kind of unfold. If I can be at two places at one time, I would do that. All right. So you might not see me tomorrow, but you will see me on Sunday and Monday for sure. Okay. And with that, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good weekend if I don't get to see you beforehand. And we're going to be publishing the magazine this afternoon. And so watch for the notifications for that, okay? All right. We'll talk to you later. Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi until we see each other again. Love you guys.